Mother always made all my clothes, my coats.
Wait, so did you get a job at the shoe store because you like shoes so much? Were you trying to...
No, no.
You didn't buy...
That's only where they put me.
Oh. But you always like, that's why you worked at the thrift store, because you're trying to get some deals.
I like going to the thrift store because I can get good labels in my clothes for a lot less money than if I would go.
So you just got this job, and they just happened to put you in the shoe department. Yeah. And you, okay.
And I was 16.
Uh-huh. But you didn't like get a discount and buy a bunch of pairs of shoes. No. Why didn't you work during college? Why did you need money from your mom?
I did work while I was in college. I worked on weekends, and I worked at general duty or I did private duty nursing. Every summer I came home. I worked at the hospital in which I went to school, and I did, again, general duty or private duty nursing.
So why was your mom giving you money?
Well, she gave me, when I first went away to school, I didn't, I had to get settled before I started to work. And that's when she gave me money.
Now, you didn't have any extracurricular activities? You weren't involved in any clubs or sports?
I never did sports very well.
Did they have phys ed when you were young?
What?
Did they have physical education when you were...
No. See, that's the thing. At the high school, because it was new and it was Catholic, I tried to play basketball, but I wasn't any good at any of those things. I used to go ice skating. I rode a bike.
Like, what kind of courses did you take in high school? Just like your
They were always connected. In the first 2 years, everybody took the same thing. And so, it was biology, language, Latin, some math, civics. And then the last 2 years is when you would declare your major, is when you would, like I was a commercial, I took bookkeeping, typewriting, shorthand, and they really provided me with, that was helpful when I went on to college, that I could take notes.
How many Catholic courses did you have to take? How many religious courses?
Only one a year.
Really? Only one a year?
Yes.
How many days a week did you have to go to church?
When my parents, in fact the whole area, they went to daily mass. They went to church in the morning and in the evening on Sundays.
Jeez.
A lot of our activities had to do with the church.
So you're saying you went to mass every day?
When I was really little, yes. And now, do you understand why I go to mass now?
No, but wait, what time were you going to church?
Well, my mother went to 6 o'clock mass in the morning, and my father did that too. I went to mass, I guess it was at 7, before.
So everybody would get up, go to mass, go to work, come home, and then go to mass again?
No, they only on Fridays they went to service in the evening, and on Sundays.
And was it a full mass? Like you had the communion every single day?
Yeah, every day.
Every day?
Yes. I tell you, when I was in college, go away.
Most.
When I was in college, away from home, I never missed going to mass on Sundays.
No, but I mean every day, and then twice on Sunday.
I went to service in the morning, and then I went to a service at night.
Were they longer, or as long, or?
Not really.
Did you walk? I guess you walked to mass, right?
Yeah.
You didn't have any pets growing up?
We had a dog once, but the dog was killed by, run over by a car.
So when you had a dog, did your dog just run free during the day?
Yes.
And there are dogs all...
In our neighborhood, there was only one person who had an automobile.
Uh-huh.
So everything was plain. We played on the street. Every evening we would play, we would sit on the porches of the different houses and tell stories. I roller skated on the sidewalk.
Did you have a horse?
No,
Did anybody have a horse?
My godmother had a horse, and when I would go out there, she would let me ride the horse, but it was old, and I can remember that you could sit on it without a saddle.
Okay, wait, but so how far would she be from your house?
I guess I could walk because it was like in Millersville. Distance didn't mean anything then. You walked.
You walked out. You didn't take a trolley, or
no. The trolley. The only thing I took a trolley to high school, and because there were so many of us from my neighborhood that went to high school there, that they had a special trolley that came and picked us up. And I could remember and always forget my lunch. And he would stop the trolley at my house and let me run in and get my lunch, and then I would go back.
And you did this on a regular basis?
Almost, because it just seemed like I never could remember my lunch.
Wait, now, did your family ever take trips to like Philadelphia or Washington, D.C.?
We did things on weekends, no. Because remember, the transportation was by bus, or if you had friends with a car. And a lot of people had a summer home outside of the city beside the house they lived in. And often on Sundays, everybody would go to one of these houses and have like a communal picnic or whatever you might call it. My godparents had a cleaning place where people got their clothes washed or they had their stuff dry cleaned.
Mm-hmm.
When my father died, I took he always called it, I forget, it's the equivalent of a burial suit. And I took this suit over to the cleaners with one of my dresses. And this I always called them Mr. and Mrs. Bermel. They were my godparents. And he said to me, it's 50 cents for the dress and nothing for the suit, that he would dry clean my father's suit that he would be buried in for nothing. That's what I said. All these people seem to be individual entrepreneurs because they were the plumber, the electrician, the painter, the wallpaper hanger, the funeral director. All of these things were like one family operation.
Did you remember having any best friends when you were a kid?
Yes, I was very friendly. The kids in my neighborhood that were my age we were very friendly together.
Yeah, but what was one friend that you remember?
Joan Moody.
Oh yeah, I never remember her. Did you retain a relationship with her, like?
I did.
Or maintain?
I knew her birthday. I went to nursing. She went to the same nursing school. She got married to Joe Holzbauer, who went to West Point. Is that the neighbor in Annapolis?
Oh, Annapolis. So she was your best friend?
Yes, and he was a good friend. All these guys were good friends of mine, but never anything, that
So you grew up. You didn't have TV. You didn't. When did you? Do you remember
Oh,
radio?
We got the first. We probably had the first radio on the block,
Uh huh.
and I can read.
So how old would you have been when you got the radio?
I don't know.
Just around. Just guess.
I guess 10.
So you're about 10.
And I used to listen to Abbott and Costello and laugh, and we always got pretzels in those 8-pound cans, and I would sit there and listen to them and eat pretzels. I drank wine that was watered from the time I was little. I told you I used over Fibber's saloon. My father would take me there, and I would sit on the bar stool, and the guy, Fibber, would give me a glass of suds.
Uh-huh.
So he was given, a kid that was not even in school, a glass of beer.
Well, do you remember your sisters getting married? Do you remember the ceremonies? Do you remember the parties? Did you?
They had, whenever anybody got, we had a close relationship with all my cousins and my aunts and uncles. And before any of them got married, they would have a big shower and everybody would come. I'm talking about families of 8 children.
Would it be like in somebody's house, or would it be at a hall?
No, it'd be at their home. We didn't do anything with going.
Well, how do they all fit into somebody's house?
They just did.
And you'd have what? You'd have candy and...
We celebrated the 6th of December, St. Nicholas Day. And that's the day that St. Nicholas would knock on your door, and when you opened it, he would throw in fruit, nuts, and candy. And one time I said, I don't believe in St. Nicholas anymore. And then my Aunt Mary, who played St. Nicholas Day, and she would throw all this thing, and then she'd walk in the house and go up to her room. She lived with us. But after she died, we'll know that she was St. Nicholas. My sister Betty, she played St. Nicholas, and I can remember her opening the window in the kitchen and throwing all this food in, the fruit and candy.
So because normally you wouldn't get fruit?
No, fruit, we had canned fruit.
Uh-huh.
Every summer, we prepared for the winter there were hucksters who came around, and you could get bushels of tomatoes, string beans, we bought enough of potatoes for the whole winter at one time in the summer. And everybody had a cold cellar, a place where it was much, much colder, like your garage would be now.
Uh-huh.
And that's where you kept all this stuff. But you canned peaches, tomatoes, pears, string beans, soup,
but what kind
our
of
own ketchup.
What kind of fruit do you get for Christmas? Like, what are you talking about when Saint Nick
I
comes?
had good Christmases until I got pretty old. I guess I was still in nursing school, and all my sisters and brothers were married, and I got a prayer book for Christmas, and I hated it.
But Mom, I just want to understand, what kind of fruit do you get from, you said Saint Nick? What kind of fruit do they throw in the window?
Oranges.
So oranges were a big deal.
They were, yes.
Where would they have gotten the oranges?
I don't know.
So somewhere they get these oranges, and that's the thing you want for Christmas.
Well, one time I also said I didn't believe in Santa Claus anymore. And I wasn't the best kid, and for some reason I was being punished, and we always had Christmas we always had Christmas on Christmas Eve after we went to midnight mass. And along comes, Christmas Eve and midnight mass, and I got a bucket of coal. and so that really, that bothered me. And the next morning, I got all my Christmas presents, so that was the way they
Who did
punished
that?
me.
Who was that? Your mom or your dad?
My parents, my sisters, they were all,
They had to teach you a lesson.
yeah,
Did you remember anyone else ever getting a bucket of coal?
no. But
Did you cry?
Oh, probably. But it used to be that even up here in Berwyn, they would sell little packages of coal, up there at the, the place is still run, the lumber.
Do you remember being cold when you were a kid?
No.
Your house was warm?
We had central heating, radiators. No, and there's one thing I do remember. It was during the Depression. Nobody had any money. And we always seemed to have money at my house. And my mother kept $100 in a drawer in her bedroom. And I would go up there by myself and I would open the drawer and I always counted the money, and because it made me feel like I was protected. And that I am, in high school, for our class trip we went to Canada and to the World's Fair. This was in 1939. And I was one of there were only 3 of us out of that whole class who had enough of money to go on the class trip, which was combined with a whole bunch of Catholic high schools, Philadelphia, everywhere.
What city in Canada did you go to?
I went to Montreal and to, Quebec.
So did you take a bus?
We took a bus to New York. And then we went on a boat, to Montreal, came back to Rochester.
A boat? How'd you take a boat to Montreal?
Because I remember we had probably the cheapest accommodations, and I had the upper berth in this little cabin.
Yeah, but what route is from New York to Montreal? Were you in the ocean or
yes,
the river?
Know. I guess we went up the ocean. I don't know.
That would be... You might want to look at a map and check that one.
No.
So you took a boat to Montreal?
Yes. And then we went probably on a bus to Quebec, came back. No, we went to Montreal and then took a bus back to Quebec. And I remember that I stayed in the I think it was the Fontainebleau, which was a really special hotel in Quebec.
How long were you gone?
4 days, 5 days.
Wait, you were gone from Pennsylvania and in 5 days you went to New York, took a bus?
Yeah, we went through the St. Lawrence Canal. I guess our days were pretty full. I don't remember how many days.
Okay. Do you remember going to the movies when you were a kid?
I used to go to the movies to a theater called the Strand, and it cost 10 cents.
Did you see The Wizard of Oz?
No, I only saw that when I got older.